5. And it's 9.
It is? Mm-hmm. Good morning. Can you push it back a little bit? This is good morning. This is Wednesday. I'm Wayne. Welcome to Wednesdays with Wayne. Today, the first thing I want to do before we get started is thank you for your time. I do that because a friend of mine told me years ago. He said the most valuable thing anyone can give you is their time. So before we get started, how many consider your time valuable? Okay, thank you. How many don't like when people waste your time? Okay, good. So you have my commitment. I'm going to do my best to make sure your time is well spent. So thank you for showing up. How many have other things you could be doing right now? Okay, good. So thank you for showing up. I'm glad you're here. It'd be kind of lonesome in here all by myself. So, excuse me. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your time. Excuse me. I've been working out, and you can tell the stuff's coming up on my lungs. Sorry. I start off with a question. Excuse me. What are you doing today to get better? That's my first question for today. So please grab a notepad and be ready to take notes. Excuse me. I was fine until they turned the camera on. Never fails, right? What are you doing today to get better? Please write this down. What you do moment by moment in the present determines what you will have or be or do in the future. What you do in the present determines what you'll have in the future. So what are you doing in the present? What do you do day by day to get better? And what are you doing today to get better? Hopefully watching this, if your goal is to get something out of this, my goal is to deliver. So I'm going to do my best. But if you write this down, if you increase your productivity, your efficiency, if you improve 0.1% daily. See, in America, we tend to celebrate the home runs in baseball and the touchdowns in football and and the soccer goals from way out in midfield. So we have a tendency to celebrate these aberrations that are stunning, athletic accomplishments, no question. But for me, I was saying by the yard, it's hard. By the inch, it's a cinch. So I'd rather have a lot of inches that end up to a foot, that end up to a yard. Wealth, money is created. Wealth is built over time. So I don't know about you. I'm in it for the long haul. So if I can get 0.1% improvement on my processes daily, and I'm working 300 days a year, it's a 30% per year increase. And that becomes noticeable year by year by year. So my question, what are you doing today? Please focus on this, okay? Please write this down. 0.1% on the processes daily. There's a certain amount of your time each day I'm going to ask you to spend working on your business as opposed to just working on it all the time. If you're working on it all the time, you have got to get out of that mode because you've got to make the shift. If you're going to survive, look, there's two types of businesses, right? Some have huge margins and some do have small margins, do lots of volume. So if you've got a business that has huge profit margins, you're susceptible to competition because a free enterprise, a capitalist system, abhors profits. Or you could say loves profits because as soon as they see it, there's massive competition. So if you have huge margins, you can do less volume. But if your margins are thin, you got to do a lot of volume. You're not going to do a lot of volume by yourself because your capacity is going to be limited. So when you look at the businesses you're in and the business you want to be in, please think about this. How can you scale or grow that business that runs without you? And that to me is the ultimate goal. How to create this income? What I believe is most people want money. If you're in America in a capitalist society, and that's the game here, it's capitalism, you probably want money. Well, how do you get money? Well, we're taught to do. Go get a job. People don't want a job. They want money. So how do you get it? Well, we've been taught, get a job. That's the problem. I'm going to go out to the public education system here in a minute. Not the teachers, but the system itself. But for now, I'm just going to ask you this. Because I was saying to this group the other day, you either take responsibility or you take orders. If you don't like taking orders, take responsibility for your outcome. But what are you doing today to get better? 0.1% improvement on the processes daily. You're working in your business or on it. I understand working in it. I'm working in mine right now. But most of the time, I work on it, improving processes. So thank you for that. The world is in doom right now. We're in the middle of this virus, this pandemic. So I just looked at the stats. So far, there's 4.01 million cases worldwide, 283,000 deaths worldwide, and 1.5 million have recovered. In the U.S., 1.3 million cases total, 79,000 deaths, and 230,000 have recovered. So why are we talking about success in the middle of all this bleak despair and death and illness? Because it's time. We can talk about that, but please hear me on this. There's this invisible thing out there called energy. And what you focus on, you get. So I don't want to go too far out in left field. This is not puppy dogs and rainbows. We're not sitting around a campfire holding hands and singing Kumbaya. If that worked, I'd be around a fire right now with you. So we have to have a plan. We need to talk about success. There's some businesses that are gone that are not coming back. There's some businesses that are thriving right now. So when I look at that, I understand once again that we live in a world that's dual. There's up and down. There's in and out. There's concave, convex. Right and wrong. Entropy, syntropy. Proton, neutron. Always only coexisting. So I could focus on all that. I'm aware of that. I'm quarantined myself at home. I don't go out much. I don't want to get sick. But at the same time, I want to look toward the future, because someday, one day this started, one day it'll end. And when it ends, am I going to be better off or worse off? And what will I have done during all this chaos and all this noise and all this drama to make myself better? Yeah? I just want to be better. I want to be better mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and physically. I'm working on all 5 areas of my life, and I'm doing it constantly because I can always do it better. That's a little thought that's running around in my head. You could have done that better. You can always do better. You got to get better. So if I want to be of value to you, I got to get better. And I want to be of value. I want to be of value to others. So I got to get better. I can't. Most people wish it was easier rather than just getting better. Getting better is harder. But getting better is better. Okay, so with that, I'll just introduce the subject. Today is about success, and success is totally subjective and measurable. I see people coming into real estate all the time. Some of them are in their latter stages of their life that shouldn't be going into real estate. I asked this guy a few months ago, I said, what are you doing here? He goes, man, I was in the military, then I was in private enterprise. I'm gone, I'm good. I get everything I need, plus some, but you can only play so much golf. You can play too much golf? There was a disconnect right there. There's no way you can play too much golf. I agree, you can drink too much good wine, but you can eat too much rich food. You can't play too much golf. Anyway, he said, yeah, I'm just bored out of my mind. So for him, success would be sell a house a month, buy a new wardrobe, buy a new car, go on a trip. So if that's your measure of success, and you measured that and you made that, you're successful. If you got a spouse and a house and a bunch of kids, and you're the breadwinner, you're the income producer, and you're going to real estate, it's a business. And if you don't treat it like a business and run it like a business, you're going to be out of business. So success is defined by you. I'm not here to tell you what your success is. I'm working on my own. Okay? So if you're on welfare and want to stay there, turn it off, okay? Because this program is not If you're committed to mediocrity and you just want to get by, turn this off, okay? Because this is not for you either. But if there's something inside of you that feels like you were meant to be more than you are, that you were destined for success, and you want to do well by doing good, and there's untapped potential inside of you, then stay tuned, because today is about, I'm going to talk to you, okay? Because I felt that way most of my life, and most of my life I was told that I was not going to have any of that, because that wasn't who I was. That is who I am, and that's who you are. So I want to go into it today is most people want to get rich until they find out how much work is involved. So nothing is easy. you really are. I said, oh, thank you. I am a simpleton because I learned how to take a complex subject and make it simple. And most people make it too hard and convoluted. So please write this down. Confusion is contagious. Confusion is contagious. So if you have a rep, a sales rep, a marketing guy, somebody wants to work for you, and they give you this proposal, they start talking to you, and you get confused, guess what? They're confused. Don't do business with confused people. It will wreck your company. Do not do business with people who are confused. Remember, clarity is power. The clearer you get, the more power you have. What's the definition of power? Ability to do. The clearer you are, the more effective you become. The more effective you become. The more people you serve, the more effective you become. Okay? So remember, confusion is contagious. Don't do business with confused people. So I'm going to do my best to remove some confusion today. And what I want to do is make better decisions faster. I can't do that with confused vendors. I can't do that with confused employees. I want clarity, always, only. People be clear on the task. So the question to me is, what are the rules? There's a lot to know and a lot to be successful. But what I do is, I don't know if I know a story, but I went broke in the mid-'80s in the oil recession, lost everything, moved to Austin, down a couple of million, started over. Horrible time in my life. It was very educational. I don't recommend it, but it was very educational. This was my business school, Streets of Houston, 1983 to 85. Mess. So since then, I've been studying successful people. If you want to be successful, remove resentment towards successful people. If you see someone out there who's successful, enjoying their lives, having a great time, please, if you resent them, you need to go work on yourself because you're in the way. You cannot have what you resent. So there's confusion, that's the enemy. Resentment is the enemy. So you got to get rid of all these enemies, confusion and resentment, and study that person. Be naive, be curious, be willing to learn. How did you do that? What did you do? Did you ever get your butt kicked out there? Did you ever have a tough time? What did you do when you had a tough time? How do you get through problems? How do you handle all this? There's a formula there. Success leaves clues. There's a formula for success. So I've been studying the richest, most successful people in the world. Americans have this simple model. They make their money in their businesses and they hold it in real estate. That's the model that I've seen. Yeah? So this is what we're going to talk about today. So in real estate, there's 3 simple steps. And this can be applied to any business, no matter who's watching or what business you're in. What I began to study were the principles of business. And my mentor, Bucky Fuller, would call them the generalized scientific principles. And what a generalized principle is, something that's true in all cases, no exceptions. So for example, gravity is a generalized principle. And you can argue all day long with gravity, but if you go up on the roof and step off, you'll discover that's a fact. It's a generalized principle. So what are the generalized principles operating in business? Well, there's leverage, there's synergy, there's perturbation, there's all these things. So what I set out to do was discover the principles. And I'm not concerned so much with man's laws because most of them are just nonsense. We have managers managing managers and supervisors supervising supervisors, and there's too much noise and stuff. I'm more concerned with nature's laws and how I apply them. This is what I learned from Bucky Fuller. What are the laws, generalized principles governing the universe? How do I apply those? So no matter whether the economy goes up or down, no matter whether the economy goes up or down, it's always a good time to make money. Getting rich is a point of view. It's a choice that's made, and I've chosen it. Okay? So I'm going to go into this. So if you're considering real estate, and I would recommend it. The reason I recommend it is because I got in it in 1985. I barely got out of high school. Barely got out of high school. I mean, like barely. Barely. Like I wasn't even interested. I had zero interest in the subject. It's the best business in the world because it's easy to enter. It's easy to make money if you follow the formula. You can control your own time. Not 100%, but you get better control. You're not 8 to 5 every day. You're not reporting in. You're kind of on call because when the phone rings, you got to go. But compared to other businesses, you get more control over your time versus being an employee who goes in and leaves every day at the same time. You get to be your own boss. I'll tell you what you do. You don't like your boss? Go in there tomorrow. Don't quit, okay? Don't quit. Don't go in there and say, I'm leaving. And they go, you quitting? Yeah, I'm quitting. Don't quit. Rehab's for quitters. Don't quit. Just fire the boss. Go, no, I'm not quitting. I'm firing you. Well, what's wrong? So I got something in my eye. You got something in your eye? Yeah, I got something in my eye. I can't see me working for you anymore. You're fired. Just go Trump on them. Oh, for sure. Fire them. And go find one you want. And be the boss you wish you had. And remember this, okay? Just because you fired that boss doesn't mean you don't have one. Everyone has a boss. And when you get into your own business, the marketplace is your boss. Everyone has a boss. The marketplace is your new boss. So how do we build the business the marketplace will like? That's what we're going to go into today. 3 steps. So what do you need to know? In real estate, we're regulated. So here's what you need to know. I'll put it up here like this. We are regulated by the Texas Real Estate Commission. The Texas Real Estate Commission and a group of brokers and lawyers and committees create an exam. You have to pass it in order to get this. And you got to have this if you want to stay out of jail. Pay big fines, get your license revoked. You got to have a license, okay? So this is one of the criteria I want for my business. First of all, I have no inventory, no accounts receivable, and you have to take the course. You have to take the product. The product has to be consumed. It's a law. So when I chose this new business, I chose it very carefully. So you have to have a license. The problem is, and this is what most people don't know. So I'm talking to you considering real estate. Those of you in the business, you already know this. A license guarantees you nothing. So what does that mean? If you go to most of these schools, please hear this, okay? Your income is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you ask. Your income is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you ask. So we're taught in school to search for the answers. And what I'm suggesting, ladies and gentlemen, is you search for the right question. And I have people call on time going, can you tell me how to get a license? Absolutely, we can do that. But your license guarantees you nothing. Huh? Yeah, the real question is, if I may, the real question is, can you teach me how to be successful in real estate? Can you teach me how to use my license? Because a license is just a tool. And like any other tool, if you don't know how to use it, it's no good. And the tool in the wrong hands, without people understanding how to use it, is dangerous. So it's just a tool. So if you go up to most of these schools and go, can you teach me how to get a license? That's like, it's like asking a used car salesman, should I buy a car? They're going to say yes. But the question is, will you teach me how to use it? Do you have mentoring programs? Will you teach me the business of real estate? Will you teach me how to generate leads, schedule my time? Will you teach me how to build it, turn it into a business that works without me? Will you teach me that? Now, these are quality questions. So no matter what business you're in, if you like real estate, go for it. There are 11 reasons why I think it's the best business in the world. The main are control your own time, be your own boss, determine how much money you're going to make. Never again will you be told what you're worth. It's incredible. And the opportunities are boundless. Every time a piece of property is leased or sold, someone's getting paid. So I love the business, obviously. I'll go into this at the end, the 13 steps you can take to become successful yourself or more successful than you are today, if that's of interest to you. So the question is, can you teach me how to use it? And what I mean by that is this. I've been in hundreds and hundreds of real estate transactions. I learned early on that the best as business people, the best uses of my time, and I'm talking to you as business people, we have to be good stewards of our time, energy, and money. And when I look at either putting buyers in my car, I could put a buyer in my car and drive all over the city waiting for them to go, stop, I'll take this one. How many buyers can you work at once? One. How many sellers can you work at once? It depends on your systems. You could have 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 listings simultaneously. So when I talk about building a business, I'm talking about the transition from sole proprietor to business owner. Look, this is it right here. This is the real estate business blueprint. This could apply to any business. This shows the 6 components of the business and the definition and goal of each. Where are most agents stuck? Production, because it's taught by the school system. Be good, do as you're told, make good grades, get a good job, work hard for money, do it on your own. If it is to be, it's up to me. If you don't want it done the right way, do it yourself. And these are all the thoughts. When I talk about mental transition, I'm talking about letting go of all that and putting a team together. And so when I say to some people, where's your team? They go, oh, we can't find good help. People are expensive. They're not dependable. Blah, 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 blah. What are they really saying? I don't know how to get the right people to do the right thing at the right time. So what happens? Their production is stuck, their efficiency is stuck, their income is stuck, and they've hit this ceiling they'll never get past because their capacity is going to be limited. And what I want is unlimited capacity. I want to scale that business. I want to grow it to its utmost potential. So there's 6 components of a business and the definition and goal of each. Your home is a business. Your church is a business. It's all business today. And you either treat it like a business, run it like a business, or you're out of business. And most people are out of the business because they don't treat it like a business. So what happens? Why don't we have a business education? Because of our public education system. So sometimes you have to learn, and sometimes we have to unlearn. So this is what I see. This is just my perspective. Okay, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. But here's why I say this. After over 30 years of owning this business, I see adults come in there freaked out about taking tests. Why are they so fearful about the joy of learning? Why has the joy of learning become a fearful, boring, It's still an agrarian age invention. That's why we let kids out in the summer so they can go home and help with the crops. Well, when's the last time your kid picked a grapefruit? That would be never, Bob. So the further you look back in history, the further you can see into the future. Right now, our whole education system is changing. It's not going to look the same when we come out of this pandemic, because people are going to discover they can learn better, faster, and be more entertained remotely. So how did this come about? Well, if you look back in history, at the turn of the 20th century, the beginning of it, early 1900s, late 1800s, 1900s, we're transitioning from the agrarian age into the industrial age. They had these industrialists, they called them, Carnegie, Mellon, Rockefeller, Ford. Now, what did Ford invent? Henry Ford invented the assembly line. The assembly line was designed to build cars faster, to get the price down. So what did he need? Educated labor force. So he took farmers, had to teach them how to be employees, how to run a business, how to work in the factories. So he built another assembly line called the public education system. And there are 3 assembly lines in the public education system. The first one is the elementary school, where we're taught the elements. That's why it's called that. Then you have junior high, then high school. And they're grooming people to be employees to run the factories that they built and to run the assembly lines. So the public education system that became assembly line that fed the factories. Yeah, and then they took the GPAs, the grade point averages, 2.5 and above to 4. You got a white uniform and went into the office. 2.5 and below, you got a blue uniform and you went to the factory floor. So right off, they divided us. And that's the old thing with power. If you want to conquer, divide. You want to keep them divided. They've been divided since. So we had the white collar and we had the blue collar. Yeah, so that's what I see in history. So then they had this dogma they taught us in high school. Be good, do as you're told, make good grades, get a good job, work for money, climb the corporate ladder, don't make mistakes, keep your head down, blah, 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 blah. Yeah? So people come into real estate and I go, oh, do you have any business skills? No. Okay. Well, you're in real estate, you're going to need some business skills. What do you mean? I've got a license. Yeah, but your license guarantees you nothing. You can discover that now, or you can hear me now and believe me later. So all I'm saying is, I've been on hundreds of listing presentations. Hundreds of them. Hold on just a second. Could you please step outside and handle that, Lynn? Okay, hang on just a second. Excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. Advantages of working from home. So thank you. Cold caller. I said, congratulations in being in sales and knocking on my door, but you caught me at a disadvantageous time, so sorry. So what I'm saying is we have all these thoughts, right? And what happens is the thought drives the behavior, and the behavior gives you a result. And the public agency system taught to be good employees, not good employers. They taught us to go get a good job, not how to build a good business. They taught us how to climb the corporate ladder, not how to build our own. So that's what I'm suggesting. So I understand this, okay? You were born a genius and meant to be an incredible success. There's a part of you that thinks there's something more or some untapped potential. Then to me, real estate is a way to unlock that because it's the best business in the world. So this is what happens. It's 3 steps. Step number 1. If you're going to get into real estate and be successful, get your license. Step 2, build your business. And step 3, I'll get to in a minute. All I'm saying is this. I've been on hundreds of listing presentations because listings are better use of my time, energy, and money than having buyers in my car. I can handle many more listings at once than I can buyers at once. So I've been on listing presentations. Here's what the sellers asked. If you go on a listing presentation, do you think one of the sellers, somebody wants to sell their home, do you think they're going to ask you if you can market their property? Well, they do. Do you think they're going to ask you if you can sell it for top dollar? Yes, because they do. Do you think they're going to ask you if you can negotiate best price and terms for them? Yeah, because they do. That's what they ask. I've never had anyone ask me how many square feet are in an acre. That's on the state exam. I've never been asked the difference between accretion and erosion. It's on the state exam. So what I'm suggesting is there are 3 types of education that we need no matter what business we go into. And if you want to get a license, what we need is a technical education. Technical education is a new language, math formulas, contracts. It's important to have. It's a great foundation. Most of the lawsuits and contract disputes most of the lawsuits and complaints to TREC come from contract disputes. So it's imperative we understand contracts. We're creating legally binding documents. Agents, learn how to fill them out. So we need a technical education, but we need more. Look, the world is full of educated derelicts, people with all the accolades and diplomas and degrees. They can't rub 2 nickels together. So to me, we also need a business education. Because it's all a business. Your house is a business. You have the 6 components in the house. You have marketing, you have sales, if you've got kids, you've got negotiations. You got inventory, you got production, you got customer service, You got bookkeeping, you have accounting. Money comes in, money goes out. It's all systems driven. The problem is most families and churches aren't run like businesses. That's why they're chaotic and hemorrhage cash. Okay, so to me, it's all about business. You got to have a business education. Business education. To me, the highest form of leverage there is education, because the more you know, the more you can do with less. So if you get rid of the confusion, put the right group of people together, understand the principles of business like leverage, doing more with less, and synergy, putting a team together and creating magic with the right people, getting the right people to do the right thing at the right time. Next thing you know, it's on autopilot. The money's coming in. You have more than you need. You go out and do what you're supposed to be doing while you're here. How many of you watching this right now have a feeling deep down inside you that there might be more to your life than just making money? Okay, good. So to me, the goal was get money handled so I can do what I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't become altruistic or airy-fairy about it, but I believe that our product is philanthropist. Most people, when they get what they want when they want it, or what they need when they need it, become altruistic. They become benevolent. We're chromosomically programmed to help each other, to respond favorably toward our fellow human beings. Instead, we sell our body, mind, and spirit for a paycheck. So what I'm suggesting is get your money handled, build a business that adds value, that services others, and then go out and fulfill your life's purpose. So there's 3 steps. Number 1, get your license. 2, build your business. What is the best reason to get into real estate? Insider trading is legal. I'm not saying break the law. I'm not saying break the rules. What I'm suggesting is step 3. It's right here. Once your business, and this is the model the richest people in America and the world use, they make their money here and they hold it here. So what do you do here? You need a financial education. So we need a technical education. We need a business education. And now we need financial education. What does that mean? Well, when you go into investing, you need financial education, because if you pay too much and you borrow too much, there's nothing anyone can do for you. What's going to happen as a byproduct of this pandemic? A lot of properties are going back to the lenders. A lot of property is going to be going back to the lender. I don't know what you see, but Twitter just announced yesterday that if their employees don't want to go back to the office, they don't have to go back to the office. What do you do with all that office space? Keep paying rent on empty office space? Pretty sure that's not going to happen. I think employees are going to realize they don't need to get up an hour and a half early to get to work, and they don't need to spend an hour and a half getting home from work. That's 2 to 3 hours a day saved. I feel like a lot of employees are going to figure out they don't need to do that anymore. I feel like a lot of employers are looking around their empty offices right now because their employees can't go there yet. Some can't. Some can. Some can't. The ones that can't are empty. The owners of those businesses, I've got to feel like they're looking around all the empty space going, holy moly, so my business can't operate without this. There's some that just fail and give it back. So a lot of lenders are getting really nervous right now because they know those properties are going to come back. People aren't making their mortgage payments. Those homes are going back. Some of the office space is going back. Okay, so in all that, financial education. So why do I say insider trading is legal? These are the reasons I love real estate. Insider trading is legal. You're never going to get rich 3% of the time, and you're never going to have Martha Stewart's problem. So what does that mean? What that means is when you become licensed, you become a member of your local multiple listing service. What's in multiple listing service? The value of the property values. So when you do it, there's two ways to determine value of property in residential real estate. One is the comparable market analysis, and the other one is appraisal. It's almost the same process, it's just a different license. This is appraisal a little bit more detailed, a little bit more complex, because they give you the comparison approach. They also give you the income approach. They also give you the cost approach. So they actually have three approaches to value. This CMA is a comparable market analysis. They're mainly using this one, comparables. When you look at comparables, you look at properties that are active on the market now that are similar to the subject property. You look at properties that have expired. These are properties. How does a property expire in the hottest market we've ever had? Well, it's simple. It was overpriced and undermarketed. Then you have sold properties. What is the definition of fair market value in real estate? What's the definition of fair market value? What a willing buyer will buy, will pay, and a willing seller will sell for, neither one being under duress. So what do we have? We have values. We have these active listings that are nearby. This is the competition. We have these didn't sell because they're overpriced and undermarketed. And then we have these sold properties. This tells us the value of these properties. Now we know what the value is. So if you look at any subdivision, it's the same way the stock market works. You have resistance at the top and support at the bottom. And you have this range these properties run in. So if you see one priced here or here or here or here, and you know the value is here, you can buy it. And you're never going to get rich 3% of the time. I'll do my best to tell you something. This is the conversion, especially if you're paying your broker, the IRS, and your expenses out of this 3%. I'm talking about the commission a realtor earns when they sell the property. So if you sell the property or buy one, you get 3%. You split that with your broker, because we're sponsored. If you're an agent, you have a broker who sponsors you. You're splitting that commission with them. You're paying out your income tax, or you should be, and you have some expenses. So you're never going to get rich 3% of the time. The wealth in real estate is in owning it, not listing it and selling it to someone else 3% at a time. So that's all I'm saying. You with me so far? The key is to own it. So how do you maximize risk? How do you maximize risk? How do you maximize reward and minimize risk? How do you do that? Because there's an old saying that's not true. You start getting into business and doing transactions, you find out how many myths or misunderstandings are all out there. Usually, most people say that risk and reward are proportionate. If you want a huge reward, you have to take a huge risk. That is just so not true in real estate. It's just not true. You can get a huge reward with minimal risk. We do it all the time. And what I'm suggesting, ladies and gentlemen, it's very simple. All it takes is a financial education, because if you know your numbers, you mitigate your risk. And how do you know your numbers? Simple. You go right here at this place called MLS, and you find out the fair market value of these properties. Because if you buy it here, then you have to hope it goes up. This is not a very good investing strategy. So most people buy them here and give them back here. And investors buy them here and sell them here. And speculators buy them here and give them back here. And investors buy them here and sell them here. That's the difference between a speculator and investor. Investors can tell you what they bought, why they bought it. What they bought, why they bought it, and what they're going to do with it. So what I talked about, financial education. In residential real estate, we have a CMA, again, and an appraisal. Two ways to attach value to the asset. Well, what do we have in commercial real estate? In commercial real estate, we have income. It's called the net operating income of the property. And the income has value to it. So it's not necessarily the sticks and bricks investors buying. It's the income, and there's a value to that income. Well, how you value the income stream? You use a capitalization or a cap rate. This is one way to attach value to this asset. So you see an office building or a strip center or apartment project or anything that produces income. It's got value to it. That income has value. So you're taking some of your own money, borrowing a bunch, and buying future dollars with it. Yeah? And so cap rate is one way. Cash on cash returns another way. A gross rent multiplier will help you attach value. And then you have internal rate of return. And then you have return on equity. All these are ways to attach value to that lifelong income stream. Okay, this is why real estate's the best business in the world, because you have access to all this information. You have access to the information. When you got your license, you took a contracts class. You know how to fill those out. You have lenders who want to have a relationship with you, who want to lend money, and will show you how to get good rates with low risk. You have title companies who want to help you close the transaction. You have contractors that will go through the homes, the properties, and help you fix them up and getting into top condition. Okay? So this is why I say real estate's the best business in the world, and this is the model the richest people in the world use. They go through, learn the business. If there's a licensing process, whether it's a lawyer, doctor, plumber, electrician, contractor, doesn't matter. The Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation regulates over 35 industries. So go learn the process, learn the business, learn the nuts and bolts of the business. You need a license, go get a license. Just understand, license guarantees you nothing. Then build your business, then invest your profits. Okay? This is how the rich get rich. That's the formula. So I'm going to end with this. I made a list of things that in my mind, a regular ordinary person like you and me can do to be successful. So people ask me, what did you do? How'd you do it? Well, I went out and made a lot of big mistakes, and I covered them up and pretend I didn't do it. Then I blamed somebody else for all that. And then I went to luckily I met a woman who believed in me, and I went to a seminar and I found someone else who believed in me. And I started educating myself and cleaning myself up and playing it straight. And I owned all that stuff, and I fixed it as best I could. Now, I'm passing that information on. So here are the keys to success based on my observations and my experience. I've been in sales since I was 16 years old. I've been running a business since I was 19 years old. So I've seen a lot of transactions. A lot of people have come and gone, a lot of vendors, a lot of customers, a lot of people, a lot of transactions. Here are my observations, if I may share these with you. Number one, love what you do. Love what you do. Why is the failure rate so high in real estate? Because the fear is so high. So here's what happens. There's two ways to learn something. There's knowing something, and then there's really learning something. And just because you went to a class we held and you memorized all the answers and passed the test doesn't mean you know it. You don't know it until you can do it. For example, listing presentation. We have a class, you can take it, you'll make an A. Doesn't mean you know how to list. So how do you list property? How do you learn this? You go out and mess about 10 or 12 of them up. You have to go through nature's prescribed trial and error that the public education system punished you for doing, which is trial and error. The public education system took the joy of learning away and replaced it with demerits. If anyone's punishing you for making mistakes, get away from them, because you learn via trial and error. You're supposed to make mistakes. You're supposed to make mistakes. Just correct them quickly. So if your fear is too high because you're too interested in looking good and being cool and going nowhere, you probably never learn how to list property, because you've got to go out there and mess them up. And so if your fear is bigger than your passion, then fear will win. If your passion is bigger than your fear, you'll be unstoppable. So this is what I'm suggesting, ladies and gentlemen. Love what you do. If you don't love if you're watching this and you don't love real estate, get out of it because you're in our way. Yeah. Love what you do. Or another way to say it is do what you love. And then, number 2, simply apply the principles of business to it. If you love what you do, take your hobby and turn it into a business. If it's so great and so valuable, why not share it with other people? So, apply the principles of business. That's number 2. 3, remember the goal is service. Number 3, please remember the goal is service. As my mentor Bucky Fuller used to say, the more people I serve, the more effective I become. I feel the same way too. Service. Remember the goal is service. Money is a byproduct. All it tells you is how well you're strengthening and servicing other people. If you're working, not making any money, well, that's the marketplace is talking to you. Your boss, the marketplace, is talking to you. 4, keep educating yourself. Again, I'm going to ask you, when do you measure the success of your education? Graduation or retirement? What good book, what good business or finance book have you recently read? What business or finance program are you watching? Are you watching CNBC in the morning and getting factual business news? Are you watching the markets? Are you learning the language? Yeah? If you are, great. If you're not, please do. Keep educating yourself. 5, commit to ongoing improvement. Remember, by the inch, it's a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. What are you going to do today to get better? What are you going to do tomorrow to get better? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. I'm working on all 5 areas. Because there's always something to do. 5, commit to ongoing improvement. 6, expect change. You're in it now. Huge global pandemic. I can't say no one saw this coming because the facts aren't in yet. There's some rumors this was planned. Others think you're crazy when you say that. Point is, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Point is, we're in it, and things have changed. The world is designed to change. People are designed to change. What do people resist the most? So, expect change. Expect it. I'm not talking about planning on it. You can't plan for it because it disrupts all the plans. It disrupted my plans. But I wasn't totally caught off guard because I know the world is designed to change. It's been changing for billions of years. 7, have a plan. Have a plan. When things change like this, you may throw that plan away, but that's no reason not to have one. Have a plan. Number 7, have a plan. 8, set goals. I know, there he goes. There's one main reason that I suggest set goals. You've got to have something to shoot at. You've got to have a target. But the main reason is if you don't have a goal, you won't know the difference between an opportunity and a distraction. So when someone brings you an idea, starts talking to you, you'll be very clear right off the bat. No, thank you. No, thank you. That's not aligned with my goals. That's a distraction. That's not an opportunity for me. It's an opportunity for you. It's not an opportunity for me. It's not aligned with my goals. I'm not going that way. I'm going this way. Okay? So that's the purpose to me, even though it's difficult to sit down and write goals and track them. I like seeing the result. Keeps me focused. I can tell an opportunity from a distraction. Number 9, do not care what others say or think about you. You want your power back? Forget about what other people think or say about you. When you don't care about what other people think or say about you, and you just tell the truth based on your own experience, you say what needs to be said, you'll get your power back. So don't care what other people think or say. 10, give back. If you're having financial problems, you're not tithing, start. Help those in need. There's always, look, I know, but there's always someone better off. There's always someone better off. There's always someone better off, and there's always someone worse off. So someone's worse off, give them something. Help. 11, be yourself. 12, be kind. 13, never, ever, ever give up. Never, ever, ever give up. So those are my 13 observations of how to achieve success. So what is success to you? And what are you doing day by day to get where you want to be? Remember, it's just a point of view. You can see a problem or you can see an opportunity. They're always existing out there. You get what you focus on. If you want to know how you're doing, just look who you've surrounded yourself with. If you find yourself saying to yourself, man, that guy's such a loser. Well, hello. He's in your circle. Life is just a reflection, so look around. If you love who you're with, and you have surrounded yourself with a lot of successful, high-powered thoroughbreds with high horsepower who are doing well by doing good and achieving like no tomorrow, just go, congratulations. I've surrounded myself with some great people. If not, then do what you got to do. You're only as good as your team. No one succeeds alone. I'm really, really proud of my spouse and my team. You see me, but what you don't see is them in the background. So, okay, that's it for this session. I'll end the way I started. Thank you for your time. It's Wednesdays with Wayne, brought to you by the Real Estate Business School, where you get your license and learn to use it. This is the learn to use it part. You can go to our website at buildmyrebusiness.com. Call us at 800-624-5440. Ask us this question: can you help me become successful in real estate? And we will say yes, and we will show you how. Okay, that's it for today. Let's go out and make it a better world. Thank you very much.